Hi, I'm Georgian Benta, host of the popular The Gratitude podcast. I'm so honored to welcome you to the 2021 Mindset Mastery for Business Leaders Summit, hosted by my good friend Nicole Holland, where I'll be teaching you about how to adopt an attitude of gratitude.
Georgian, hello. Thank you so much for joining us here. I'm super excited to be talking with you today about this. So, my first question to kick things off is back before you started your podcast, when you realized that there was this concept of gratitude that existed and you decided you wanted to delve deeply into it, what was the triggering event for you that brought up that realization? And why do you think that happened in hindsight?
Yeah, so for me, the experience that got me started and got me really interested in this concept was actually after a business that failed, a partnership that failed. Unfortunately, I've invested a lot of my time and my energy in that particular business, and um, everything fell apart for some reason. And what was very interesting for me was that um, I don't know, in about a week or so, um, honestly, I was praying. I was searching for an answer. Why did it happen? Um, what could I do next? And things of this nature. Things that we all ask ourselves when something like this happens. And the answer came to me as a state of gratitude. And I didn't know it at that moment, but it was very interesting that even though everything seemed to have fallen apart, I was so fulfilled. I was so happy, and I was thrilled about my life, even though nothing changed on the outside. So everything was the same, but I was so happy and I was so fulfilled. And for me, that was weird because I was always thinking about, okay, I need to get to this point. I need to get to this level. I need to get to this goal for me to feel this way. Why is this happening to me? Why am I feeling this way? And it was very interesting because I had the same feeling that I had, for instance, about the city that I was living in, that I had the first time that I moved. It was that exhilaration, that amazing feeling of everything is new and everything is possible. And that continued on with other things in my life. And I thought, how interesting. It shouldn't be this way. It's that there must be something to it. And I was very curious if other people have had these kinds of experiences, and how gratitude has helped them. And I also thought, since I didn't find much information on this, that it could be something that other people might be interested in as well.
This is awesome. I love it. So I can definitely relate. And I wonder who else in our audience can as well. Having, as a business leader, as a business owner, as a somebody who, people are looking to for their income and for they're hiring you and they're expecting things. And there's a lot that we have to carry, right? Lots of responsibilities professionally as well as our normal personal lives, which we all know there's like life happens, right? So I think this is so important. And I really appreciate you using your personal story to share that because I'm certain that many of our attendees can definitely relate to that. Um, so, what is it that you found? Because now you've done well over 700 episodes to date on the Gratitude Podcast. And so I'd love to know about, are there any commonalities between the leaders that you have interviewed and also from your own personal experience, any key things that will help people adopt more gratitude? If you can share some of those with us and even any process or structure that you have, that would be fantastic.
Sure. So what was very interesting for me is that with each and each and every interview, I was able to learn something new and get a new perspective on gratitude. And that was amazing for me. I thought, okay, probably I would get bored at one point because there would be some things that kept appearing as answers to my questions. But actually, I've had very interesting life stories on the podcast, and very interesting responses. For instance, um, one business leader that's also a mom said that for her, the best practice for getting into a state of gratitude is sleep. Actually, getting some sleep to be able to get a refresh and to see life and the experiences and the challenges and everything from a different perspective. And I've seen this in my own experience, and I'm sure that many of the business leaders that are watching us right now know how it is when you're very tired, when you have a lot on your plate. It's really hard to focus on the things that are working great and the things that you're grateful for. And that's that's a pity because we get so many of our inner resources from feeling grateful for, from connecting to that part of who we are, and also to that part of our brain. Actually, there are a lot of studies, and I've talked with many of my guests about this topic, that we are actually in a state of responsiveness instead of a place of reactiveness when we are grateful. And another thing that I've seen in my experience, and also by talking with so many people, and this has been recurring, and it doesn't really matter if they are big business leaders or just ordinary people with a very interesting story. Connecting with nature is one of the best ways of experiencing gratitude. When we are in this concrete jungle, and when we are connected with all of these artificial things, it's harder for us to get in that state of gratitude. And whenever we go into nature, we put things into perspective. We see our problems in a different way, and we connect to something that's more real, let's say, something that's more natural, more close to who we are as human beings. And this reconnects people easily with gratitude. And this, of course, can be done in different ways. For some, it's going to the beach. For some, it's going to a hike, and for some, it's just taking a walk and admiring the trees. And um, some actually do a gratitude walk where with every walk, with every step, they actually think about one reason um, of gratitude. So there are different ways in which people actually apply this and have used gratitude. But um, nature and connecting with nature is one of the best things that I've seen in my own experience, that work great, but also in the experience of the many people that I've had the honor to interview.
I love that. And I can definitely relate. Over the years, as I have, improved my personal development and professional development, I've just continued to go within and become more self-aware, and test and find things that work for me. There's a process I really, really enjoy. You may be familiar with this, from Abraham Hicks, about appreciation. And it's a morning ritual that Esther shares. Um, And if you're not familiar, folks, with the Teachings of Abraham by Esther Hicks and Jerry, who was her late husband, I highly recommend it. It's a little bit woo woo and out there. In fact, when I first came across it, when I was in school for coaching, I was like, this is not for me. It was too far gone, I thought, but those were my assumptions. And so once I actually started learning, I loved it. And so one of those practices that I employ a lot and that I recommend to my clients, to my friends, to my whoever I'm talking with who's challenged by kind of being in circumstances that are uncontrollable around us, or what we deem to be uncontrollable. We feel that trapped feeling, or like we have to perform, or we have to do something. I find that the process of just literally whatever you see, it should trigger something. If you're in a space of openness to gratitude, to appreciation, then you will see those things. If you're feeling funky and that's what you want to concentrate on, everything around you is going to be funky and you're going to keep getting more of that. Whereas if you stub your toe getting out of bed and you allow yourself to be set off on that negative, oh, everything hurts, everything's bad, everything's wrong, you will continue to have a really shitty day. But if you stub your toe and you're like, oh my goodness, wow, that hurts, that's okay. I'll be fine. Right. And hey, at least I'm up. Hey, now I'm like definitely not snoozing again. Right. And you find that thing to be excited about or grateful for, oh, wow, I'm going to go downstairs and put on a pot of coffee because that'll make me feel good. Right. Whatever it is. And, you look out the window or you walk outside on a nature walk or whatever. But wow, the sky is gorgeous today, right? Or maybe it's raining and you don't like what it looks like. So, wow, it's really something to appreciate all the water that we're getting to allow the flowers to grow. Things like that. It's just finding the things that are a win, that are happy, that are exciting, that you can appreciate in any situation. Something also that I learned many years ago from, I believe it was Dr. Wayne Dyer. I believe he's who I learned this from, but I'm not sure. Is traffic has always been something that sets me off. It just puts me in a bad mood. And so I learned many years ago that when we're in traffic and we're feeling like, oh gosh, this is going to make me late, or this is going to have this bad impact, or I don't want to be here. It's very easy. Or we get angry with the people cutting us off, things like that. Just taking a breath and being like, wow, I hope everybody up front is okay. Oh, this is unexpected. What can I do with my time? Oh, well, maybe this gives me more time to listen to an audiobook that's helpful. Or, oh, wow, well, this may make me late, but at the same time, it's giving me, I've got plenty of time to contact my counterpart and let them know I'm stuck in traffic. So it's not an issue, right? Like any little thing, like, oh, wow, I am so grateful that the traffic was stopped, that I wasn't, further ahead, because there's that head-on collision that has a big pile up. Thank goodness I wasn't a part of that and I'm safe. And I wish the best for the people who are not, right? So I think just reframing anything into appreciation is possible. And then for the biggie, what I've adopted more into my life, and I do this more and more frequently, and it makes such a big difference, is the nature thing. So getting out of the office, turning off all of the ringers, all of the notifications. Like I don't even have notifications on my phone anymore. There's like one thing. When my team writes, there's a notification, but I also have like the do not disturb on for a good portion of the day. So nobody gets through unless I'm choosing to allow them through. So those boundaries. And then when I go away from the office, completely shutting everything down, there's nothing that's so urgent that it should, compel me to be stressed. And to be able to go, whether it's to the beach to walk or out in the wilderness or whatever, but I like to get away, and I feel like I need that as an introvert. The more time I spend alone, thinking, being, in a space of appreciation, gratitude, and ease and calm, the more I tune in to who I am and what works for me. And that's where the best ideas are born. And so, just as a couple of examples from me personally, is there anything you'd like to share that has really worked for you over the years, in addition to the things that you've already mentioned?
Yeah. So one of the things that I love to do and I love encouraging people to do is incorporating gratitude as much as possible in daily life. The best way to cultivate a habit is to add it to other habits. And what I love to do, for instance, we most of us are well educated and we were taught to say thank you, but we were never taught to actually feel it, to actually experience it. Like when you say thank you, to actually realize that that person did something for you, um, that you just couldn't do at the moment, or just made your life easier one way or another. And that's amazing that you had that person at the exact time that you needed that person to do the exact thing that you needed to get done. So one of the things that I love to do is whenever I say thank you, to actually mean it and to actually feel it and to actually think about what it actually means for me, and um, how amazing it is that I get to be helped, for instance, um, at the perfect moment. Um, an example of this is someone holding the door for you. Maybe you have groceries or something, and there is a person at the right time there to help you. You say thank you and you go your way, but actually feeling it and experiencing the fact that it was so much easier for me that person was there at that moment. So that's one of the things that I love to do. And another one is a is a bit more weird, let's say. I like to think about all of the things that we take for granted. For instance, you mentioned being stuck in traffic. When I'm driving and I see that there are, um, whether I'm stuck in traffic or I'm just driving, I'm grateful for the people that have built those roads. Like someone did that for me so that I can uh, get from one place to another safely, and in yeah, in a pleasant way. Another thing that I'm really grateful for is my car. All of the amazing things that are going on that I don't even understand uh, in my car, and how amazing it is that it works so well and that I can count on it. It's it's really amazing. Like, I know it's something very simple, but I think it's something that we just got used with. And even taxis, for instance, I love to think about taxis as something like, um, how amazing is this world that we can just go into a certain colored car and just go in and tell the person where we need to go, and they take us, and we just give them a something of paper or plastic in exchange. Also, restaurants, I think, are quite amazing as well. Like, um, I'm walking about and I get hungry and I just go take a table, and someone comes and asks me or gives me a whole list of options from which I can choose, and they just bring the food, and they're doing all of the things in the background for me. So uh, this is one of the things that I love to do, is think of these simple things in a different way. We get used with all of the amazing things that we're experiencing, but um, when we take just 1 second to think of them in a different way, um, they can become magical. They can become something uh, out of the ordinary, something um, that we can be happy that we can enjoy and have a really different experience.
I love all these examples. I think this is super helpful. And like as you talk, it's like we're doing this little brainstorm. I'm talking, you're talking. As you're talking, I'm like, oh, yes, I can relate. Oh, right. Yes, of course. And it gets me excited. And I hope that it's getting other folks excited that are with us as well. And if it is, here's what I'd love for you guys to do. Georgian, we're just going to take a quick moment and I want to ask folks, I don't even have it on me right now, but I want everybody to pull out your cell phone and go ahead and clip a little picture of us right here. And I want you to post that on your social media using the hashtag MMFBL. That's for Mindset Mastery for Business Leaders. Again, MMFBL for the hashtag. And you can also tag Georgian Benta and or the Gratitude Podcast. And we would love to see your takeaways and also what are you grateful for right now? Anything you want to share, help us get excited and let us know that this is a value to you. And also let other people know what you're learning because we would love to have more and more people practicing gratitude in the world. And Georgian, it's like, you just triggered so much for me and so many thoughts and so many things that's like, oh, right. Yes, of course. Tell me about what your experience has been so far as you, over the past years, have been taking on this attitude of gratitude and implementing it day to day in those things. Actually, one of the things I just have to share because I'm at an Airbnb right now after camping for 5.5 months straight. And let me tell you, the last month plus was quite challenging as far as amenities, and the experience has given me so much value, just personally and like with so many things including gratitude. And you don't even think about those things like when you're used to, as you mentioned, we take things for granted. And I tell you, I was counting down the days that I could take a shower without putting shower shoes on my feet. 5.5 months, I think I didn't take a shower ever without flip flops on. I got here to the the Airbnb was the first thing I wanted to do. So there's just so many little things that if we bring our awareness to them of, wow, this is really wonderful. Wow, I really can appreciate this. It's like you said, magical. So tell me about some of the magic that has happened since you started really getting intentional about adding your gratitude practices.
Yeah, so there have been so many amazing things, and many of them are related to the podcast and to the people that have been writing. Um, I've received some amazing reviews, some amazing emails that for me were magical, and it was I got goosebumps reading the things that people were saying about the podcast and their experience with gratitude. Um, and for me personally, just being able to, so I want to be honest here. I still have challenges. I still have moments when I feel down, and I think that's okay, and that's um, part of being human. Um, but the beautiful thing is that, for instance, when something breaks or when something isn't working great at one point in time, um, I immediately have some habits, some ways of thinking and of seeing things that help me in that in those moments. And for instance, if the fridge breaks, um, instead of being mad or sad or anything that it broke, I'm grateful for all of the rest of the days in which it was working properly. So I think just this idea can be implemented in so many areas of our lives. So, for instance, when a relationship has some issues, we can realize that okay, we have some issues here, but actually most of the time it's great. Um, Also, in business, sometimes we have many challenges, and we think, oh my God, we should quit. It's too much, when actually we have so much that is working great, and we can build on that. And that's one of the things that I've learned in time with practicing gratitude and talking with people about this topic, is that it's very important to have a really correct perspective, uh, a wholesome perspective, because when things aren't working great, we tend to focus all of our attention on that, you know. And we don't realize that in fact we have so many resources. We have um, so many inner resources and outer resources that can either fix the problem or give us that perspective, to that we can build on the things that are good, because we all have different challenges in life and in business. But when we realize that we actually have uh, maybe 80% of things that are working great, we can build on that, and we can get to be much more powerful and much more um, resourceful. We can see all of the things that are around us that can help us with the things that are happening. And that's one of the things that I love about gratitude, and that's my personal take, let's say, on gratitude. I love to make it as practical and as pragmatic as possible. And this is one of the things that I've seen in my own experience and in the experience of the people that I've talked with. Just the fact that even in this moment, if we have a challenge, our viewers, if you have a challenge right now, you can think of the challenge, or you can think of all of the things that are working right now, that are related somehow to that challenge, and all of the resources, all of the people that you have, all of the financial resources that can help fix that problem. You know, when you look at the whole perspective and you realize, oh my God, that problem isn't as big as I made it to be. It's actually uh, getting smaller and smaller, and I'm getting bigger and bigger. And then it changes. You know, you see, oh my God, I have so many resources with which I can actually solve this problem, this challenge. So that's one of the things that I've seen in my life, and it has helped me move on in different situations that were very challenging, seeing the whole perspective and understanding that at all times we have many more resources than we have challenges. And once we access those resources, I think that anything can be fixable. And yeah, we can enjoy life much more, because um, we're going to have challenges, and that's not going to stop even if we are practicing gratitude, from my point of view at least. But having that perspective and knowing that they are not as big, and that our resources are much bigger than all of the problems, for me that's magic.
Totally. And just an anecdote I can also pop in here is something that literally just happened. So here I am at this Airbnb. There was quite a bit of a to do to get here. And it's turned out not to be a great fit. So when I realized it's not a great fit, obviously I was disappointed, like you. I'm not perfect. I don't think anybody's perfect. I think that we need to give ourselves grace to allow ourselves to be human. I think it's really the our how quickly we can reset our attitude, right? But it's normal, it's natural, it's human to get disappointed about things, to question things, to um, go into a deeper, dark place sometimes. And that's really the catalyst for me in creating this event, and to help people that are going through this stuff to reframe things through the learnings from all of our wonderful experts on the summit. So one of the things that has been happening here at this Airbnb, and I'm so grateful that it's not happening right now, is that the internet has been really, really unreliable. And so I have had a lot of challenges with communication and with team. And the other day, it was so bad. I had to cancel interviews and I was very disappointed. And I felt very like, oh my gosh, how does this make me look? How are people going to feel? My esteemed colleagues, like I have to cancel on them. Oh my, right. But what it did was that opened up an opportunity for me to refigure my day. So, okay, I can't do the interviews, but I had other things that I could do. And I wound up going into, I've been hiring for this event, so for team, and I went into my Upwork and I was able to, somebody had just applied for a position. I went through all of her stuff. She looked like she could be a potential fit. I asked her, hey, are you available right now? Because I figured, well, even though the internet's spotty, let's see if she's available now. Otherwise, I was planning on getting all of the applicants, going through them, and then doing group interview and yada, yada, right? My whole process. But I don't know. I just had this instinct, like, just see if she's available. She wound up being available. This is actually yesterday at time of recording. This happened yesterday. So I didn't get to do the interviews. I wound up, she was available. We did have tech troubles, but she didn't mind. We persevered, we connected, and she's working today. Like, she is the person who I feel like is so aligned with this. I made the post only because I was stuck, or I felt stuck, right? Because the things I was wanting to happen were not happening easily and effortlessly. So I thought, okay, what else can I do to make the best use of my time? I made a job post. I got this gal, was one of the people that responded. We happened to be able to connect right then. And she's, as we speak right now, working on some administrative stuff that really has been needing to happen for a while. So just to throw that in there, it really can be that fast and that simple, as you mentioned, like magical, when we're able to reframe and get out of focus on what's not working and allow ourselves to look at, hey, what is? So we are coming to the end. I wish I had all day with you. But I would love for you to, if you can think back to either when you got started in playing with this practice, or things that you have recommended and seen other folks who you've worked with do. Sometimes it's hard to take conceptual ideas when we're not in a space, we're not used to doing this, right? Like, the things that we're talking about sound wonderful, but it doesn't happen. Actually, for me, it didn't happen overnight. I've had to actively practice and practice and practice, and it gets easier and easier. So if you could sum up the kind of first steps for somebody who goes, these are all great ideas, this is completely new to me, I want to try it, but I don't know how. Like, can you take us through those early steps just to start implementing it, to start making yourself aware of the great things around you, and just to get into the practice? Do you have any tips?
Yes, of course. So some of the things that we can do is actually, like I said, saying thank you and meaning it. I think this one is pretty easy, and it relates to something that we're already doing. So to be more concrete with this, next time you say thank you to anyone, just take 1 second to become aware. Just take 1 second to feel that gratitude, to feel it, really feel it, to really incorporate it, and to really um, feel about it, to really think about it, to really internalize it, and realize how amazing that is. And um, yeah, I think this is a great first step. Another thing that I've seen working great um, is, of course, gratitude journaling, writing the things that you're grateful for. Um, but in my opinion, it's very important to go deep rather than wide. So what I mean by this is not just write, okay, I'm grateful for my spouse, I'm grateful for my house, I'm grateful for my dog or my cat. Um, this doesn't actually make you feel much unless you're a very emotional person that has the capacity to imagine many things. We need to involve all of our senses as much as possible. So if we're talking about our dog, for instance, or our cat, um, I'm so grateful to feel her its hair when I pet it. Um, I'm so grateful when my dog barks um, because it's so happy when it sees me, or when my cat purrs. That that happy purr that really really makes you feel very good. And just involving as much as of our senses as possible. So um, sight, touch, taste, smell. So as much as possible. And even if we are not going to be writing a long list, go deep. Just like I said, if you want to focus, let's be more on point actually on our business. Okay, what are we grateful for regarding our business, and go deep. The people in it, and go deep there as well. Okay, why do they mean so much to you? Why are they so important? um, were they there when you weren't at your best? How did they help you get to where you are today? What were some of the things that really touched you uh, while working together? So you can think of all of those amazing things and really experience the gratitude, instead of just listing it and say I'm grateful for my business. No, really go deep and think about all of the laughs, all of the cries, all of the hugs, um, all of the great meals that you had together, all of the um, I don't know, different things that you experienced, you know, and that actually gets you to feel grateful much more than just writing some words that you don't feel any kind of emotional attachment to.
Georgian, this has been fantastic. I really love how you've shared so many takeaways. And I love you. You're amazing. I'm still grateful to have had the opportunity to be one of your early guests when you just got started on the show. And here we are. How many years later? How many years have you been doing this?
Almost 5 years now. Yeah.
Nice. And it's truly like such a gift. It's such a gift what you do. We are at the end because it is time to end. And I realize it's very late for you over there as we're recording. So thank you so much. Before we go, I've got two things. Number one, I'd love to know how folks can continue the conversation with you outside of the summit. And number two, any final words of wisdom you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah, so firstly, you can search for the Gratitude Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. It has almost, actually, more than 700 episodes by now. shorter, longer ones on different topics. You have a lot of resources to choose from, and yeah, the thing that I would like for you to think about is in this moment, after taking a deep breath right now, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about what you're grateful for? And I would love for you to go deep on that and to think about all of the different nuances that are related um, to what came to your mind in this moment.
So good. Georgian, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.